Okay, we've all been there. You get one of those emails that just makes your heart jump into your throat. But how do you know if it's a real warning or just a really clever fake? Well, in this explainer, we're going to show you exactly how to tell the difference. Let's dive right in.
You know that feeling, right? An email pops up screaming about immediate action required. Maybe it says your account is locked or there's been some suspicious activity. For just a split second, you panic. But wait, is it legit? How can you be absolutely sure? That's the big question we're going to answer today.
So this threat we're talking about has a name, phishing. It's basically when scammers put on a disguise, pretending to be your bank or another company you trust, all to trick you into handing over your personal info. It is a massive problem, for sure. But the good news is there are some really powerful tools working in the background to keep you safe.
And you should know, this isn't just a random list of tech tips. The stuff we're sharing is part of a much bigger effort. You know, inspired by huge initiatives like India's National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, the whole point is to help everyone feel a little safer and smarter in our digital world.
All right, so how do we fight back against these fakes? Well, it all starts with what I like to call your email's secret handshake. See, before any message even has a chance to reach your inbox, your email provider is already doing a whole series of security checks behind the scenes.
That's right. Just think of your email service, whether it's Gmail, iCloud, whatever, as your own personal digital detective. It doesn't just let any old message waltz right in. No way. It stops them at the door and says, let me see some ID to make sure the sender is who they say they are.
Now this ID check relies on a few techie-sounding standards, a real alphabet soup of acronyms that can seem kind of confusing. But trust me, we're going to break it all down with some super simple analogies. It's easier than you think. Okay, first up, we've got SPF, which stands for Sender Policy Framework. The absolute best way to think about this is like a public staff directory for a company. It's just a list that says, hey, these are our official mail servers. Only they are allowed to send emails for us. So if an email shows up from a server that's not on that list, big red flag.
Then there's DSCI. This thing is basically a digital, tamper-proof seal. It's kind of like the unique signature on a paper check. It uses some pretty clever math, cryptography, to prove two really important things. One, that the email is genuinely from the sender, and two, that nobody messed with it on its way to you. And finally, DMARC is the one that pulls it all together. So if SPF is checking the return address and DKIM is sealing the envelope, DMARC is like the head of security who writes the rule book. It tells the mailroom exactly what to do, with instructions like, if this email fails the checks, throw it out immediately, or send this one straight to spam. DMARC is what gives the other two their bite.
Okay, now for the really cool part. You don't have to take my word for any of this. You can actually become an email detective right now and see these security checks for yourself on literally any email in your inbox. Come on, let me show you how.
It is so much easier than it sounds. In something like Gmail, just find that 3 dots menu on an email and click on Show Original. If you're on iCloud, you're looking for Show All Headers. This basically pulls back the curtain and shows you all the technical stuff, including the final verdict from those security checks.
And boom, this shows you everything. On the left, here's a totally legit email. See that? SPF, DKM, and DMARC all get a nice clean pass. That's your green light. But now, look at the phishing email on the right. See it? A big, glaring fail. This is the smoking gun. It's digital proof that the sender is lying about who they are. You can't get a clearer red flag than that.
Look, these technical checks are an absolutely incredible first line of defense, but they're not perfect. The ultimate defense, the final person on the wall, that's still you. Your common sense and your gut feeling are just irreplaceable.
So you've got to be your own human firewall. Always keep an eye out for those classic signs, terrible grammar and spelling mistakes. Any language that's trying to rush you or scare you, suspicious links, and this one's huge. Always hover your mouse over a link to see the real address before you click. And, of course, any surprise prizes or free stuff that just seems way too good to be true.
This really just says it all, doesn't it? These technologies, SPF, DKIM, and DMARC, they're a critical checkpoint. They catch almost all of the bad stuff. But at the end of the day, the final call on that one tricky email that might slip through, that responsibility is yours.
So, the next time one of those urgent emails hits your inbox, you'll know exactly what to look for. You've got the tools, and now you've got the knowledge. Technology is your shield, and it's a really strong one. But the real question is, are you paying attention?